What is up, everybody? Joe Carlton here. Welcome to Aces Up episode 16. Week 2 is in the books, and it's brought nothing but chaos. A lot of the guys we spent early draft capital on have either started off slow or we took a premium quarterback that got hurt. That would be Joe Burrow. And we're trying to figure out how to pick up the pieces from here. Week 3 is also one of the most important waiver wire weeks of the season, in my opinion. I think that's where, it's been a couple of weeks of the NFL team telling the truth. And we know which guys that went undrafted that we want to target. And we know which guys that we overdrafted and they're sitting on our bench right now. We're like, can't wait to get rid of them for some of the fresh meat. So tonight we have a fellow NFFC high-stakes player. He's supposed to be on last week with his partner Dan Jewett, but he had a family emergency, so we got him on this week. He's got the floor all to himself. We're going to get into an interview, and then we're going to bring on Pete Nova, Supernova Pete, and a couple of other special guests, and we're going to go through the Week 2 games and give our takeaways, talk about injuries, highlight potential waiver wire pickups, and that's pretty much it. So grab yourself a cold beverage, get comfortable, and enjoy the show. What is up? We got Josh Bolling here. Josh, how's it going, brother?
Doing good, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So, I told Dan the same thing last week when you guys approached me at the Fantasy Football Expo, and we had an amazing conversation. You guys, that made my entire weekend, really. I wasn't anticipating anything like that happening, and that was pretty cool. So it's an honor to have you on and highlight you as a person and as a high-stakes NFFC fantasy football player.
Appreciate you having me on, and always makes you feel good if you can encourage somebody. Thought you're doing something cool, and just want to take the opportunity to talk to you that night. So it was great connecting with you up there.
Awesome, absolutely, and we've been talking ever since, and we've been building a good friendship, and I hope it goes on, my friend.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're gonna get into your fantasy football background, but before we do that, why don't you give yourself share whatever you want about yourself, where you're from, where you live, what you do outside of fantasy football. You have any other hobbies? You spend time with family? Anything you want to share with us is good.
Yeah. So about a month away from being married for 16 years to my lovely wife, Hannah. And we've got 2 kids. My son, Jacob, who's getting ready to be 21 in April. He's trying to tell me and Dan that he's a better fantasy player than us, and we'll see if he steps up and goes to Vegas with us next year and tries his hand with the big boys out there. But and then my daughter, she's getting ready to turn 15. She's doing rodeos every weekend, barrel racing and pole bending and stuff like that. So she's into the horses. But yeah, man, got a great family. Run an excavation company. Got best group of guys in Southwest Ohio, in my opinion, that work for us, and just really blessed. So
Awesome. So you got to get your son out there. So this year, the live New York draft. You guys know Michael Edelman.
oh yeah.
His son, he let his son draft solo in the 350 against us. And I thought he killed the draft, but again, he took Burrow, and his team is down near the bottom of the standings right now. But I do, when the draft ended, the first thing I did was I went right up to Mike, and I was like, he fucking killed that draft, dude. And he was like,
and
did
now,
he? And I was
now
like, yeah.
he gets to learn about Fab. How much money do you spend this week? You know, when you're round 4, round 3, 4, 5 quarterback, wherever you got him at.
Yeah, round 4. Down. Yeah. You know, your premium quarterback. You know, if you take one before round 5 and he goes down, you know that you're dealing with the adversity right off the bat.
That's right. 2.
And he's 0-2, and he's down the bottom. I hope he makes a recovery, because he does have a good foundation of a team. So I'm rooting for him.
He'll bounce back. You just got to keep fighting every week.
That's right. It's a long season. All right. So When did you start playing fantasy football? How long have you been playing? Tell us about your first draft, how you got into it. And yeah, go ahead.
So I was in 6th grade, just like my buddy Dan, and I was actually going on vacation, so I didn't get asked to be in the league. And it was like 2 weeks into the season, one of the guys dropped out, and they're like, "Hey, you want this team?" Team's name was the Pythons. Never forget that. That was my first team name, and had a lot of fun with it. Our buddy, him and his brother ran it, and they really made it a lot of fun. This is back in the day, though, when we had to write down who our starters were going to be and give it to him on Friday before school let out, and then we was checking box scores on Monday morning, watching Chris Berman on Sunday night, before the Sunday night football game, see if we could figure out how many touchdowns our players had and stuff. And but it was a lot of fun, and really got hooked from there. And I've never missed a season since of playing fantasy football, and that's about 31 years now we've been playing.
Nice. You got me out-kicked by 6 years. Good for you, man. You want to know what I miss about that era? And I really, really, really do miss it, because we don't get the same feeling anymore, because we got Red Zone and the internet and all that. But when you were watching the game and you got the in-game break, the do-do-do-do.
Oh, yeah.
In-game break, you were like, please let it be my guy. Please let it be my guy. Yeah. I totally missed that in-game break, and then they'd show the play, and it'd be somebody taking one to the house. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. We're spoiled because we've got it all instant between Red Zone and multiple TVs, or you got your phone there and you're constantly scrolling, checking scores. Yeah, there was nothing like that rush.
Right? You got up off the couch and you did a touchdown dance in front of all your friends that you were watching the game with that were in your league too. But yeah. All right. So do you still play in any home leagues, or is it just strictly high stakes at this point?
Yeah. So I still have, we've got one home league that we play in. Dan plays in it with us, and I've got my dad, my son, cousin of mine runs it, and his dad and his brother and a couple of his buddies are in it. And I'll tell you, it's really stiff competition. It's a tough league. The first year I played in it, I was like, oh, okay, this isn't too bad. Did really well. And then the next year, Dan got in, and it was like they found out that these guys that play high stakes are in this league, and they make it tough. It is a really tough league. It's fun.
Everybody steps up their game when you go in against tough competition. Literally everybody in the league is going to get fire. Is going to get better. I said fire because I saw Beats fire. So that was weird. And that's what my favorite part about joining the NFFC leagues is, every single one of my opponents have made me a better fantasy football player in one way or another. And that's why I'm glad that you and I and Dan and everybody are having conversations we're talking football consistently. So it's only going to help.
Absolutely.
All right. So I found out how many teams you and Dan had last week. So we'll skip that question. We'll go right to your live draft experience in Vegas. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that? I've never done one in Vegas. I've only been to the New York one twice. So tell me about that.
So I think I've not been to New York. I've heard the guys talking about New York and how stiff and tough the competition is. Vegas, there's nothing like it. It's awesome that you go out there. I'm not sure where it's going to be at next year. It's been at Park MGM the last couple of years. You're out there in the ballrooms, NFFC. Greg, Tom, Jeff, they treat you like kings out there. You draft and then you go out in the hallway and they've got full spread buffet, food feeding you. And they draft Wednesday night. They do drafts, and then you've got Thursday all day, after the game Thursday night, Friday after the game Friday night, and then all day Saturday. Saturday's the best day though. That's when they do the Hall of Fame induction every year.
Nice.
This year was awesome. I can't recall the two guys' names, but they've been playing for like 22 years together, and they took down a couple big wins over those 22 years. And to see, hit home for me and Dan, best friends for 30 some years. And then to get to be there and see two guys that have been lifelong friends playing fantasy football together and get inducted into the Fantasy Football Hall of Fame together was awesome. But Saturday's my favorite day because after the Hall of Fame induction, the walls are taken down and you've got anywhere from 3 to 6 drafts going on at one time. You can hear the guys calling them out. You all start at the same time. So you're sitting there and you're like, I might get this guy in the 8th round. And then boom, they say it over here. And then he goes over here and you're like, he's not making it to me now. So it's tough. But Saturday's by far, that's my favorite day out in Vegas. It's just awesome to see them honor all the prime times champions and overall champions, and then the Hall of Fame induction.
Nice. Yeah, that's something that we don't get to see it. New York is all business. You show up, there's a draft, then there's a draft, and there's like a few more drafts. There's a little bit. There's a little bit of food along the way. Chris had an open bar. I drank a few too many. I don't even remember what I drank. Great, I think it was grapefruit margaritas or whatever. But no, I shut it down before. I had 2 drafts later in the day. I gave myself a 90-minute window where I pounded water and got ready for the draft. So
there you go.
But yeah, no, it was a good time. It was all business in New York. Everybody does a draft and then they go home. And that's kind of why I took the train and I didn't stay overnight. I didn't, I took the train, did my 2 drafts, and I took the train right back. 8-hour train ride for 4 hours of live drafting and 4 hours of hanging out with the guys is an accept all day in my mind. So
there you go.
Yeah. So all right, let's move on. Fantasy Football Expo. We already talked about how you and I met there. Why don't you give us some of the stuff some of your highlights? What do you like best about the expo?
For me, one of the coolest parts. We only live 3 hours from where they have the expo from Canton, which is where the Football Hall of Fame is. And when we got the chance to draft at the Cincinnati Live Draft for Scott Fishbowl this year, they were doing raffles and threw a couple raffle tickets in for the VIP for the expo and happened to win. And so we go up and got to hang out, see people that you see them on X, you listen to them on the radio, and then get to interact with them. Guys like you that are live streaming drafts during the summer and the spring, and just get to show our appreciation for that, because honestly, if you guys weren't doing what you were doing, the summer and the spring would be a lot more boring. Slow drafts are fun, but it's fun to get in there and do those live stream drafts with some of the guys that we're doing high stakes with, and get to hear your opinions on stuff, on who we're picking and where guys are going. But that was great. The expo was really cool. Just getting to see some of the new things, technology and stuff like that. That's coming out for home leagues. There's one, it escapes my mind, but it was by far the coolest thing I saw up there. That was as far as innovative, and it was AI hosting your home league draft, and they roast you when you make a bad pick, and they tell you do a good job when you make a good pick, So that'll be cool to see how that moves forward the next couple of years.
Nice. All right, so we're gonna move into your favorite NFL team. I see the orange stripes. I wore the shirt tonight for you, and man, what do we do? How do we proceed forward without Joey Burrow? I mean,
well, unfortunately, we're used to this. That's why we went out and signed Jake Browning and kept him there, because he's a solid backup and he knows the system, and he's a gunslinger. So if you got Joe Burrow on your fantasy team and you've just lost him for probably the entire fantasy season, I mean, it doesn't look good.
I wouldn't even want to put him in one game back in the play. Like, I don't even feel comfortable about that.
Yeah. But Jake Browning, he's a gunslinger, man, and he'll throw some interceptions, but the Bengals, they're not dead. They may not have much of a defense, but they're going to put up points. And Chase and T and Chase Brown, those guys, they're very much alive in fantasy. They should still be fun to watch. He ain't Burrow.
No,
he's
so a percentage from 0 to 100. How much of a ding do the guys take? Or is it different? Like, I don't see Jamar Chase getting much. If anything, his volume is gonna sustain better than it would if Burrow was there.
In 2023, Jake Brown, I knew he was going to ask this, so I went and looked it up. Jamar Chase actually was 2 points over his expected fantasy points on average with Jake Brown.
So I was right. I'm right. All right.
And T. Higgins was 4.5 points above his expected fantasy points. And Joe Mixon did well, and that was in 23. So Chase Brown hasn't really got a chance to break out yet this year. They haven't really been able to work him in the offense, get him going. So I would look to see him get going a little bit. But Jake Brown was slinging the ball to Yoshavash last week, and the rookie, or I guess he's actually a sophomore, to second season, Tinsley, had a spectacular catch for a touchdown. So he's not afraid to throw it up. Like I said, he'll throw some interceptions, but the volume will still be there. The targets will still be there for the guys.
So you guys they're still currently 2-0, right? Since he's 2-0.
2-0. I don't know if I'd rather be 2-0 and not have Burrow, or 0-2 and have Burrow. I don't. We're 2-0.
Still in it. Yeah, you guys are still in it. Yeah.
They got to grind just like my couple of my 0-2 fantasy teams got to grind and just take it week by week and get rolling, get some wins on the board, and see what they can do.
All right, man. So that concludes your fantasy background interview.
All right.
We're gonna bring on our featured guest first. One of my good friends. We've been talking ball for a year and a half. I've learned a ton from him, and I know he's learned some from me. We'll bring him on. Supernova Pete. Pete, how's it going, brother?
What's going on? How we doing?
We're doing good, man. The show's going good right now. We just finished Josh's interview. We're going to get into a game-by-game review. We also have two other special guests who took the time to join tonight. They're both NFFC high-stakes players. One of them, Josh, you know pretty well. It's your buddy Dan.
What's happening, Dan?
About time you had a real Bengals fan on here.
and just because he's my good friend, we've been talking football for a couple of years now, and we bring on Joey Brown as well, my Kentucky buddy. What's up, Joe?
Joe, what's up?
How you doing there?
Nice.
Kick the ground going, guys. Week by week.
We're doing good. So we're gonna go game by game. I'll just ruffle through any important usage numbers, and then we'll go around the horn. We'll go, I guess we'll go. I don't know. We'll figure out an order. I'll just pass it around. I'll call out names. So we'll start with actually what I wanted to do, because we are on a pitch count tonight. We have a couple of us that have to be out. We're ending the show at 9:30, so I'm gonna do the Thursday night game takes real quick. You guys can add anything you want to it, but my takeaways from the Green Bay Washington game is Austin Eckler went down. Actually, we'll start with Green Bay. Jaden Reed made almost a great touchdown catch, but was injured on the play. And it led to Tucker Kraft and Dontavian Wicks tie-in for the team lead with 6 targets apiece. Tucker Kraft finished with a big day, six catches, 124 yards, and a touchdown. He played the most passing down snaps out of all of the pass catchers, including the wide receivers. He did block on 6 of them, but nonetheless, he is the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay, in my opinion. Romeo Doubs had the touchdown. Dontavian Wicks is one of my favorite waiver wire ads this week. I actually added him in a couple of spots last week because after the first Green Bay game, it was like none of the targets there was nobody that separated from the pack. All of the targets were spread out just like they were last year. So I felt like the door was open for somebody to step forward and deeper leagues, deeper benches. I threw a cheap bid in on Dontavian Wicks in a couple of spots and just to stash him for a couple of weeks. I always use one spot on my benches to rotate in and out every couple of weeks. If the guy doesn't work out, you drop him and you pick up another guy that you're trying to get a week ahead of people, because once these players get an opportunity or they show that they put together 2 games in a row where they were productive, now they're costing you fab the following week. So if you can get a week ahead of that, it's always good to do so. So that's one thing I noticed about the Green Bay side. Washington, Austin Eckler went down, and let's take a look at the running back. They didn't run that many plays, actually. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt had 4 carries for 17 yards, and Jaden Daniels had 7 carries for 17 yards. Jeremy McNichols played 16 snaps, but they were all passing downs. He did not get any carries. So, I mean, I know Chris Rodriguez wasn't active, and I expect him to be involved going forward. I still lean Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt here as a favorite out of the 3. I do think it's going to be a committee approach to some degree. But I think there's room for Merritt to be like the goal line. I think he gets goal line touches over the other 2. I know some people are going to advocate for Chris Rodriguez there. I don't see it. I think there's going to be more usage in store for Bill Merritt going forward. So I'm kind of in on him the rest of the season. Do you guys have anything else to add? Pete, Josh?
Yeah, I think Dontavian Wicks is a good person to note for the waivers. I know a lot of guys are interested in Troy Franklin, Wan'Dale Robinson this week, but 6 targets for Wicks is encouraging. He's just got to really muster up the ability to not have the drops, right? I think that's the biggest concern for him. I would say I'm not completely, I don't have much shares of Matthew Golden, if any, in managed leagues this year. But I think it's encouraging. Jordan Love's 14.5 air yards per attempt is more than a yard higher than his previous career high. So he's pushing the ball downfield in the first 2 games. Should bode well for a guy like Matthew Golden. I don't think, going over the film, Matthew Golden's separating. So I just think it's a matter of them getting on the right page. And there's not really a lot of alphas in that room. So I like the Wicks ad. I also like Matthew Golden. Overall, the offenses look better than I expected, and they're throwing the ball a lot more than I anticipated as well. So, but I do like the Dontavian Wicks ad. So,
all right, we'll move on. We'll move on to the first Sunday game, and that is we'll start with the Patriots in Miami. I'm going to note that Trevion Henderson, I think we're going to have to be patient with. Shit. He was only on the field for 19 snaps out of a possible 60. He carried the ball only 4 times. He's involved in the passing game, but clearly Ramondre Stevenson is the clear RB1 right now at this point in the season. Antonio Gibson's even getting mixed in a little bit. It's definitely a 3-headed approach, and this is something that Josh McDaniels has always done, and I think we're just going to have to be patient with Trevion Henderson's usage going forward. Don't drop him, but I think if you have another running back on the roster, you can possibly start at this point. I would start looking at start him, and this is kind of why I was only in on drafting Trevion as an RB3 during draft season when he steamed up to round 3, round 4, round 5. Now you're drafting him as at least an RB2, if not an RB1, and that's, in my opinion, that was a little too high. I got him in round 6 as an RB3, so in my only share actually. So I'm happy with where I got him, and I have the luxury of stashing him at this point. I did start him 2 weeks in a row, and he did nothing for me. So, I'm going to put him on the bench and be patient with him. Hunter Henry. Now, I had a feeling. So I heard some Patriot beat writers talking about Hunter Henry moving slowly in practice all week. So I kind of had a feeling he had some sort of a lingering injury that they didn't report. Maybe it wasn't serious enough, but when people were asking me start-sit questions last week, I was like, you got to be careful with Hunter Henry this week. I know the matchup is good, but the matchup was actually better for the wide receivers than the tight end. But besides that, I just. You saw Austin Hooper was involved. He got 3 receptions, and he played 37. He played a little more than 50% of the snaps, and he only pass blocked on 2 of them. He ran 15 routes. Hunter Henry ran 22 routes. So as far as pass catches in New England goes, it's kind of a crapshoot. Boutte had a touchdown, but if he didn't have that touchdown, he gave you a dud after you spent all that fab on him. Mm-hmm. And Stephon Diggs, he's getting the targets and he's giving you a decent floor, but he hasn't shown any burst yet. He hasn't shown any big playability, and he hasn't found the end zone yet. And so I'm actually worried if you drafted Diggs as a flex, I'd start considering looking elsewhere for a flex. Don't drop Diggs, but maybe platoon him and utilize him a little bit differently. You don't want to rely on him. I would wait. I had it was probably going to take him some of the season to get going as well. That's one of my takes was the Patriots offense will be a work in progress as the season goes on. And once it finally all the way gels, it'll look nice. But, with the fact that Trevion's not getting the usage that he should be getting, you could definitely see they're not where they want to be. So that's my take on the Patriots. Miami. Josh, I'll pass it over to you. Give me a take. You have any takeaways from this game?
Another good game for Drake May, and I was just interested to see if they were going to force feed the ball down Tyreek's throat, and they pretty much did. They got him involved. Didn't get him in the end zone, but they got him involved. So hopefully that'll be a sign of the Dolphins' offense coming back to life a little bit, but that's really my take there. Other than Hunter Henry throwing up a dud.
Yeah, I saw that coming. Dan, why don't we? You got any takes away from this game?
Yeah, just to add on to your Diggs take, I kind of see it a little different. He's played 46% of snaps so far. And he leads the team in targets. I kind of think they're just kind of slowly bringing him back. If we see that speed come back, I think Diggs' second half might be a steal of the draft. I'm hoping. We have a lot of Drake May.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I mentioned. The team. Yeah, is it going to be slowly eased in? Like, I'm not understanding the Trevion usage, but the fact that Ramondre was pretty effective last week, I guess I can. But I would personally be using Trevion a little bit more, especially in the pass game. But maybe they're trying to. Josh McDaniels has a method to his madness all the time. So
I think his three holding calls really didn't bode well with Vrabel and McDaniels on Sunday. I think that got him in the doghouse quick.
I know the rookies are struggling. Even Genty, I seen a picture of him on Twitter. He was just waltzing around in the backfield, he let some guy go right in on the quarterback. I'm like, whoa. They're just they realize that they're up against grown men, and take some effort. So Joey Brown, we haven't asked you anything yet. So
I guess talk about Henderson. Henderson was a perfect example of that first preseason touchdown. That stock goes up through 2 or 3 rounds, and I've been guilty of that in the past. And you have to watch these guys in the preseason. They'll go once, like I said, once they score, it's over with. Instead of getting a bargain on them, you're going to have to pull them up if you want them. But I think they'll get him involved more. But Stevenson looks pretty good. I mean, I didn't see that coming, but
yeah, no. I mean, I knew he would be used. But he actually had a really good game last week. I mean, I know it's Miami defense, but Pete, you have anything to add to the Miami New England game?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little disappointed in Pop Douglas so far. I expected him to be. He was a guy that I like taking flyers on towards the end of drafts. I mean, thankfully, not expensive draft capital, and it's only 2 weeks. But I just think that the offense outside of Drake May, I'm not really likely going to feel super comfortable and confident starting anybody here. Maybe Diggs, as Dan said, maybe Diggs gets more involved in the offense and can establish himself as the alpha. I liked Hunter Henry as a flex play. I still think he can be okay rolling out there, but there's so many tight ends. Even with the studs not producing this year so far, there's a lot of tight ends that have stepped up that are more worthy of being put in the starting spot for you over Hunter Henry. So I really like Drake May, though. Excited to see what he's done so far. And yeah, Henderson, same takeaway as everybody else. I think the one encouraging thing is Henderson was out there for, I believe, ran 10 routes compared to Ramondre's 16. So even though Ramondre was more involved in the pass game, we saw Henderson catch 5 passes week 1 as a rookie. So I think the pass pro was a big issue. And I think that was just more of a statement for that game. And a little discouraging to see the Antonio Gibson usage bumped up as well.
Nice. All right. We'll move on to the Chicago-Detroit game. Detroit beat the crap out of them. Their offense finally showed up. We knew that. We kind of, all it was going to take was a little bit of home cooking for Detroit. We knew that. I did start Jared Goff over Caleb Williams. I actually paired them both in on two different teams. In both teams, I started Goff this week. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one. Even though it was pretty obvious. I want to take a look at the Chicago running back snaps. Monangai finally involved. There was so Chicago ran a total of 68 offensive plays. DeAndre Swift was on the field for 39. Monangai 28. Swift had 11 carries. Monangai 7. So, I mean, I'm noting the fact that he's finally getting involved in the offense. We all knew that DeAndre Swift isn't a 3-down horseback. So, the Rashawn Johnson still, I don't know if he's still injured or they're just out on him at this point. But I just want to note that Monangai is getting involved. I've took late shots on him in multiple drafts. A good friend of mine, Doug Orth. You guys know Doug Orth, high stakes player, and he's Kala's boyfriend. He was talking Monangai up to me at the expo, and he's like, "Trust me, stash him. The situation is definitely there. They didn't draft anybody else." And he was like, Rashawn's not the guy, and Swift is just a role slasher, role running, pass catching running back, and he's not a workhorse. So I took his advice and I stashed him, and I'm hoping to see he gets some more future usage. Yeah. We'll go to Josh first. You have any takes from this game?
Just Dunze stepping up. No Colston Loveland this game, man. That was a little bit disappointing, but playing the Lions in Detroit is tough. You knew they were going to come out to play. And then Tesla, that guy's got some talent. He just seems to step up, make one big catch every game so far. But I don't know if he can catch a normal pass or not. He just has to make the spectacular one. But
you know what sucks is he's in the offense that he's in, so he's never going to get the volume we want.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dan?
Yeah, I like the Tesla call out too. He didn't play very many snaps, but he's an injury away from being relevant, in my opinion. But yeah, just talking about the Bears, was really disappointed in the both rookies. One catch between both of them. I think Odunze's clearly established himself as the one over DJ Moore, both in snaps, targets, routes run, everything. And then I think Zacchaeus is the clear 3 right now over both. I know Loveland's a tight end, and him and Burden. And then with your Lions, if you're coming off a loss at home, the Lions are going to drop 40-plus points every time. I love to see it. Good call on Goff, by the way. We were torn on a couple Goff decisions.
Oh, man, I was plugging him in. Anytime he's home, that was my plan, was if Goff is home, I start Goff. If Goff is away, I start Caleb Williams.
We did Fields over Goff twice, and that one hurt.
Oh, yeah, Fields is tough, especially after he showed you what he showed us in week 1. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, you got any take from the Bears-Lions game? You're muted, Joe. Joe, you're muted.
Yeah, I wished I had more on Dunze, honestly. I mean, think of these teams that's got him as a flex, wide receiver 4. I mean, I've seen him go 6th or 7th round, and I passed on him myself. That was a big regret. But DJ Moore concerns me a little bit. I've got him, and I'm hoping, like you've said in the past, maybe they'll trade him. But we'll have to wait and see. But the Lions, like with Goff, y'all was talking about, if you go back and look at his splits, He's so much better indoors.
Yeah.
He's so much better indoor quarterback. I don't know why. It just is. You go back and look at him. He's pretty good inside the dome.
Yeah. Yeah, Jamison Williams is almost guaranteed a touchdown. Yeah. Pete, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was actually going to talk about Jamison Williams. I reluctantly, I don't have much of him, and I started to move him up my rankings a little bit before the season started, and I was in hopes that maybe the target share would be there for him and it'd get a bump up. But I mean, he's getting a 13.6% target share. Tesla's not really on the field a ton, right? I mean, he was only out there for 29% of the snaps, so a total of 20. JMO's out there for 88 and 97 for the first 2 weeks, but I do find it concerning, and I don't know if he's going to make that next step where we're looking at him on a consistent basis where he's not boom or bust. So a little concern there. I know it's only 2 weeks, but he's got a history of this at this point. So that was my takeaway. He had a good game overall, but only 2 catches. So I have a cat climbing on my desk.
Nice. What's the cat's name, Pete?
It's Jeffrey, but it's a girl. We thought it was a guy at first. We named it Jeffrey, and it turned out it was a girl. So we
Damn, you couldn't call an audible for the poor cat.
It was too. We were too far in, man. Too deep. My wife didn't want to change it, so she calls her Jeffy. I guess. I guess that's supposed to be like the feminine version of Jeffrey or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. we got Pete's followers up in here when they're asking if they can ask questions. Absolutely, we take any questions, man. I'll periodically peek back at the chat and we'll address as many as we can. But like I said, we are on a pitch count tonight, so we're gonna try to move through these games. Let's move on to the Jacksonville-Cincinnati game. Bengals won this one 31-27. They squeaked it out despite losing Joe Burrow. I just want to highlight Bashal Tutin. He's got involved. He scored a touchdown. He looks explosive, and I didn't expect him to get opportunity this soon. But once they realized, ETN is healthy and they have what they have with what they drafted, they moved on from Tanks Bigsby, and thank you for that trade. Because I drafted Bashal Tutin, and I have 3 dynasty teams, and I took him in all 3 rookie drafts.
There you go.
In the second round, and I took him over some guys that are already reducing. So I was starting to question my call, but I knew that I was going to have to be patient with it because I'm the biggest ETN truther there is. I knew that going into he's in a money bag. Yeah, he's playing for a bag. So and I don't rule out that he could stay with Jacksonville depending on if he wants to take a little bit of a discount, but I don't rule that out. I think that Tutin had 2 catches for 32 yards and a touchdowns, and I'm looking forward to see this offense. I'll let somebody else talk about Brian Thomas. I just wanted to mention Bashal Tutin, and I'm excited to see how he does the rest of the season. We'll go to Pete first on this one. Pete, Jacksonville, Cincy.
Yeah, the Thomas thing, I've gotten a lot of questions on. Should you trade him? Should you not trade him? I've had people, say Lad McConkey for BTJ straight up. Would you do it? And I mean, there was talks. Apparently, he was dealing with a wrist injury. I don't know that a wrist injury is going to stop you from putting your body out there across the middle of the field. So concerning. I would say it's not like this was a habit for him last year. So I'm not really sure what's going on with him. I'm confident that he's going to break out of it. But I'm really more worried about Lawrence than I am the BTJ stuff. I think Lawrence, the intermediate stuff is just not there still. and they just don't seem like they're on the same page. So I that's really more my concern with the BTJ stuff. I mean, 12 targets last week, right? 12 targets. You only connected on 4 of them, and again, some of that had to do with him, not giving the effort that was needed, but. I think BTJ is going to be okay. I just I don't know. I haven't really came away with a very strong takeaway from it. Of course, I hate the effort stuff though. So
yeah. Josh, we'll go to you on this one. You got any Cincinnati takes for us, or Jacksonville? Whatever.
I was
You
disappointed. I was disappointed in Brian Thomas Jr. Honestly, but I don't know what's going on there. Some stuff with Trevor Lawrence and the head coach back and forth some. So I don't know if there's some frustration in the team there. They're just not clicking, not understanding the offense or what. It's not like the Bengals secondary is that good. I expected them to pick us apart. And see Brian Thomas Jr. have a big day. Strange should have had a better day. We don't stop tight ends very well. So, and then from the Bengals side of things, our offensive lines are wrecked. Some of the videos I've seen today looks like it may be more of a scheme or a coaching thing. I mean, Dylan Fairchild was just barely touching guys and then moving away from him. They had a free run at Burrow. So the Bengals still have a lot to put together, even with Burrow being out. But I don't know. It's like Jacksonville just went into prevent mode once Burrow went out. They were coming after him strong, and then Burrow goes out, and they gave Browning time to throw the ball and process things back there. So that's really all my takes are.
All right. We'll get not to cut you, Joey, and Dan off on this one, but we're going to hit this. I'll let you guys hit this trade question, and then we'll move on to the next game. The trade is got off at Nico Collins and Quinshon Judkins for Josh Jacobs. And also, is it time to sell high on Jamar? Are we talking dynasty here or redraft? We need a little more context to answer this properly. If it's dynasty, I'm making that trade all day long. Even if it's redraft, I might consider making that trade. And I would not sell high on Jamar Chase. I happen to think that his volume is going to be pretty steady with Browning. I think a backup quarterback, Jamar Chase, could be his best friend. If anybody's getting a ding, it's going to be T. Higgins and Chase Brown and not so much Jamar Chase, in my opinion. Joey, we'll go to you first on this one. What's your thoughts on this trade? So it is redraft full PPR. It's not dynasty. It's redraft.
So Nico and Judkins for who?
He's getting Nico and Quinshon. He's giving up Josh Jacobs. Would you do that?
I don't know. Stroud don't look too good, but I don't know. It depends on, I guess, the rest of his roster. I don't know how it plays out. It's kind of hard to, if you don't know who all they've got. But I know they can't name them all. But I'm probably keeping Jacobs in that offense.
Okay. Dan, thoughts on this trade?
Yeah. Anytime I have a 2-for-1 like that, I want the best player in the trade. I don't want to have 2 average players. I know neither one of those are average, but Nico and Jacobs are pretty close. And like Joey said, it really depends on my structure, my lineup, and what I need. But in a vacuum, I'd rather have Nico than Jacobs. If I was drafting today, I would take Nico over Jacobs, even after what we've seen so far. But I always lean towards the wide receiver as well, so might be a little skewed. And yeah, I would definitely not sell high on Jamar. I would hang on to Jamar all year.
Nice.
Yeah, man, he's number 1 pick in most redraft leagues anyway, so you can't sell high on him anyway.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the next game. Giants, Cowboys. This was an awesome game to watch. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Cowboys win it with Brandon Aubrey's leg. He ties the game with a monster field goal and then wins it. in overtime with the 46-yarder, 40-37. Pete, you got any takeaway from this game?
Yeah, I mean, Russ is good for a couple of good games. I don't think that's gonna last. Cowboys didn't have Deron Bland, and we know Trevion Diggs is susceptible to giving up some big plays. He's a ball hawk, and he'll get the interceptions from here and there. So I mean, if I'm in super flex leagues and like redraft managed leagues that have a super flex, I'm still stashing Jackson Dart. I don't think that the Russ experience is going to last forever. I still think he's going to be on a short leash there. Nice to see Cam Scadaboo take the lead role. He was in there for more snaps than Tyrone Tracy, and he scored a touchdown. So I think that's a backfield's going to flip pretty quickly, quicker than I expected. I figured halfway through the season it would go to Scat, but it seems like it might happen faster. And we know Tyrone Tracy, once the fumbles start to happen, it's going to be over for him over there. That's how I look at it. So, and then on the Dallas side, Dak looks good. Pickens kind of looks like he's going to be up and down. CD's obviously going to continue to be really good. And Javante's been awesome. I have no shares of Javante. To be completely honest, I didn't want him at all this year. And I'm a little disappointed. I don't have any shares because he doesn't look like his rookie year self, but he certainly looks pretty good. So if you got him, you got a really good value there. So,
all right, Josh, what do you got for us? New York Giants, Dallas takeaway.
I mean, this is 2 weeks in a row of Wan'Dale Robinson, isn't it? He had a solid week 1. And a really solid week 2. Like, is this going to sustain with him? Because he was going late in drafts or not at all. So
I have quite a bit of shares. He's one of my most owned players, so I'm pleased with how he's doing for sure.
One of the big knocks on him was what was his average depth of target was like 4 yards or something like that. It was some crazy short from last year.
Right. But it was with shit quarterbacks and he was getting the target. So you had to know that A dot was going up. Like you just had to know that.
We didn't think Russ was going to be that big of an improvement, did we? I mean, we was waiting on Jackson Dart to come along, but no, that was a fun game to watch though.
Absolutely. Dan, you got any takes?
Yeah, one guy we've got quite a bit of that I really like seeing. 12 targets, 9 catches for Jake Ferguson. A lot of times he was our number 2. We double tap tight end there, so definitely startable here on out as far as I'm concerned. On the Javante take, the toughest thing for me about Javante is I'm buying in now, but we don't have very many shares of him. But I think we got him on Saturday out in Vegas as our 3 or 4, and just it's hard to start him over. I think we had Tony Pollard this week. I think we started him over, but it's going to be some tough decisions with Javante. But I think you got to play him if he keeps doing what he's doing. You got to play him. And then Malik Neighbors, we were laughing at me and Josh were Sunday just watching him go nuts because he was going pretty much in that 7-8 hole every draft. And then we went to Vegas, and all of a sudden we passed on him at 12.
What? And 13? 12 and 13?
We took St. Brown and Chase Brown. Am I right, Josh?
It was our bullet, right?
Yeah, it was our bullet.
Yeah, that's your one team, one shot, and we had 12.
I
we
love
didn't have Chase Brown yet, so
I love me some Chase Brown, but I'm not picking him over Malik Neighbors.
It was our only Chase Brown share.
Oh man,
it's only week 2. Relax.
And the bullet, and that was the bullet. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's crazy, guys, because he's talking about his bullet. Malik Neighbors went 5 in mine. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just that was online. That wasn't even in Vegas, but that was online. And then going back to what Pete said, talk about Jackson Dart. Speaking of the bullet, and my prime time, I added him for like $7 last week. And then Russ goes off. I'm like, I said it'd be a good stash, just to have because. He could be fantasy relevant, and Dave was going to do something, or he's going to be gone. I mean, Josh Allen put him on the map. That's he's starting to look overrated. Dave is.
I got one question for you guys. Is anybody worried about George Pickens? Like he steamed up in August into the fifth round. He was going 6-7 turn, and then out of nowhere, fifth round.
He reminds me of JMO, where two guys I really didn't have shares of the past years. I don't have any of any Pickens shares in redraft manage. I did take him in some best ball, but I think he just is what he is at this point. He's going to be a guy that's going to make some really, really awesome catches, but the volume's just not going to be there. And I think you're just hoping he gets into the end zone. But I mean, even CD, even if he's not a big body guy, he still looks like he's going to be the guy down there.
Yeah, and a big plus for Ferguson too with the double-digit targets.
Yep.
All right, we'll move on. Cleveland, Baltimore. Josh, we'll start with you on this one. Any takeaways from this game?
Zay Flowers still producing big. Quinshon Judkins. I mean, like Thursday of last week, wasn't it still being rumored that maybe the Browns or the NFL was going to suspend him somewhere 2 to 4 games? Next thing you know, on Friday, hey, he's playing. They say he's going to, probably looking to get target 10 to 12 carries. What do they have? 10 carries for 60 yards, I think. So it's going to be interesting to see him moving forward. But the Ravens just look tough. They took down a few injuries though this week, but they look tough.
Yeah, I agree. Judkins dominated the snaps 2-1. He had 10 rushes, 10 rushing snaps compared to Dylan Sampson's 5 and Jerome Ford's 6. Isaiah Bond surprisingly took 7 snaps in the backfield. But he only had 1 rushing attempt, so I guess we really can't count that. So yeah, it's good news for Quinshon Judkins owners going forward, as long as that rumored suspension doesn't happen. We'll go over to Dan. Dan, you have any take from the Baltimore-Cleveland game?
Well, with 58 points scored, Mark Andrews 1 catch for 2 yards.
Yeah, are we starting to worry about him?
Yeah, I don't think you can start him right now. But then you have on the other side Njoku, who I think we've got a couple shares of, 4 catches for 40. I mean, that'll pass for where we took him as, the 10th, 11th, 12th tight end off the board. But I'm pretty nervous about him as well. So the tight ends are kind of eye-opening in that game.
Yeah, so Mark Andrews played 45 snaps. Charlie Cola played 33. And Zaire Mitchell-Padden played 14. Andrews ran 29 routes. Charlie Cola ran 16. So I don't know. And then you factor in Isaiah Likely's possible return this week. I for one am worried about Mark Andrews. I know he has touchdown upside, but I mean you're banking on touchdowns at this point, and I don't see him getting those games. Maybe 1 or 2 games here and there where they game plan for him to get those 10 targets, but I don't see him getting 10 targets in the future. Josh, you made a great take about Zay Flowers, putting together 2 good weeks volume wise. Year three for me, year 3 wide receivers, elite, high draft capital, not necessarily every wide receiver, but the elite high draft capital wide receivers. Year 3 is what you want to be paying attention to. That's usually their biggest jump in offensive production. We know that Zay made a mistake year 1. He fumbled the ball at the goal line. That had to eat at him for a year. And then last year, he dealt with adversity. He had some injuries throughout the season. He was banged up. I just think he's in a good place right now. I was always a big fan of Zay Flowers. One thing that was a great take, Josh. I'm in on Zay Flowers rest of the season. Plug him in your lineup. I don't think you have anything to worry about there, especially with Mark Andrews not showing any life at this point. I mean, I know he started out slow last year as well, and then he came on. Pete's probably going to make his argument for Mark Andrews once I pass it to him, but because we've gotten into this debate through the months. So go ahead, Pete. Give us a take from this game.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew started off slow last year. The difference is likely was on the field last year, so and he was coming off the injury, Andrews. I don't really have anything encouraging to say about him, to be completely honest with you. I think, the red zone shots were there, so that's at least a solid sign, but he just doesn't look like a guy that's going to give us volume, which really hasn't been his game, so to speak. But I can only just hope that this is an offense with the Ravens that, maybe it's just taking them some time to figure things out. I mean, it's really been Zay Flowers is the only consistent one. I mean, Hopkins surprisingly looked pretty good. But I'm just, the only thing I could take away encouraging for Andrews is just that the red zone shots were there. And that's really just trying to put a spin on it to make myself feel better. But I'm not excited, or I'm not feeling great about Andrews. I'm with Dan. I don't think you can put him in your lineup right now. I have Juwan Jennings ahead of him in one of my lineups set for this week, and I don't even feel bad about that. I feel pretty good about that. So it's tough. Not looking good.
Nice. Joey, did we get a take from you yet on
Well,
this
the only
game?
thing I was noticing, go back to Njoku, I mean, when you got Fanning, you had 5 targets for both of those tight ends. It's going to be a nightmare, I'm afraid, starting either one of them. One of them could go off, the other might not do nothing. When two different teams may have one on, you may have him, and I might have the Njoku. But that's going to be that's a little concerning too, because they had 9 receptions between them and 10 targets.
That's what Njoku was supposed to do by himself.
That's
right. That's why we liked him where we liked him. But
nice. All right, so we'll move on to the next game. LA Rams, Tennessee Titans. Rams win this one 33-19. I'm gonna give one takeaway from this game, and that is my guy, Elik Ayamanoa. I started him. I'll show it if I have to for proof. I started him in one lineup this week. I forget who I started him over, but I flexed him. NFFC 350. Got me a touchdown, 15.6 points, I believe. It might have been 15.9. I can't remember. But, he's had over 30 snaps, 2 consecutive games, running over 30 routes. He is clearly, I think he is overtaken Tyler Lockett at this point. And the fact that they're not using Chig as a pass catcher, I'm in on Ayamanoa going forward. So we'll pass it over to you, Josh. You got any takes from this game?
Ayamanoa, he's been extremely impressive. I don't know. I've been a little bit taken back by just how good he looks.
Right? Yeah, he does look real good. He flashed it in the preseason too.
And then Puka and Adams they're going to be dominating. I mean, that is just a heck of a wide receiver combo, as long as Stafford can stay healthy. And I mean, looks fine right now, but
he's available in a lot of NFFC leagues. That would be a good fill-in for Burrow teams. I was noticing on my wires, and he's available in a lot of places. I mean, he's not going to be Burrow, but he like Josh said, he's got them 2 wideouts. I mean, he can put up some fancy points, but
they got some complimentary guys there too that catch the ball. So, and I mean, or they can just hand the ball to Puka and let him run it.
Yeah. So Chig, Ridley, and Ayamanoa all had 6 targets in this game. So something to note going forward. I did notice that last week in week 1, Chig blocked on some passing plays. Week 2 he didn't. So this might be a game plan type of deal. So I think that might be something you want to monitor, pay attention to if you're a Chig owner at this point. I've given up on Chig, and I've moved on to another tight end. I just because I am looks as good as he does. I feel like Chig is going to be game plan centric as far as his fantasy value goes. So, Dan, you have any takes on this game?
Yeah, just watching. Been watching Calvin Ridley really close. We had a lot of them. We actually were getting him in the 7th at the beginning of the year, then the 6th, and then by September he was going mid 4th. I think we snatched him there once. I'm not out on him yet. Week 1 he had a couple drops, so he was a couple drops away from having a really decent game. A little disappointed this week. We had him in there as our wide receiver 3 a couple times, so I'm just gonna keep my eye on him and hope he bounces back a little bit better the next couple of weeks.
Nice. Well, he is getting the usage. He's playing 57. He played 57 out of a possible 66 offensive snaps. He ran 38 routes. So I mean, he's probably dealing with top coverage right now. I think the run game has been not the greatest. I think they're suffering from not having Tajay Spears as a wrinkle. So maybe that's affecting Ridley. But yeah, no, I'd be patient with Ridley still. I have him in some spots as well. Like you said, when he was going a little bit later, you're drafting the wide receiver 1 of a team, or so you think you are. In the 6th, 7th round, that's great value. So I have some of them too. So I'm still being patient with him. Pete.
Yeah, we talked about the wide receivers. Devontae Adams has 6 targets in the red zone so far.
Yes.
I know Puka has been phenomenal, but they both have 20 targets, right? So 20 targets each. Puka's connected. He gets the easier manufactured touches in this offense, and so he's got 18 receptions to Adams' 10. I wouldn't be surprised still. I mean, if Adams somehow finished better and higher than Puka this year, just off of the touchdowns alone, because we know Puka's had issues getting into the end zone, right, over his career. Adams hasn't, and Adams is going to likely be that guy in the red zone. I mean, 6 targets, 1 catch, 1 touchdown. He's getting targeted on 30% of his routes in the red zone. My cat, dude. And then weirdly enough, I only just noticed this, Davis Allen has 2 targets, 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns in the red zone too. So he's targeted 66% of the time. So if you're somebody who likes to bet like live, like touchdown score props, and you see Davis Allen on the field when they're in the red zone, maybe you throw in a quick live bet if you can get it in real quick, because 66% of the time he's being targeted, and he's caught 2 passes for 2 touchdowns. So
it's actually valuable information, Peter. I like that.
I mean, he's 24. I mean, I loved Ferguson there. He hasn't done anything, but I mean, he's 24. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he establishes himself as the guy. We'll see. So
nice. I love the Adams call out. One of my bold takes this year was that Adams would outscore Puka Nacua. So, Puka's who's more likely to miss a game? If Puka were to miss a game, like I'm expecting 25 minimum from Devontae Adams. Like you know what I mean? Like that type of upside is just insane.
And Puka's only getting targeted 10% at the time in the red zone too. So again, it's only 2 games, but
I want to bring up Blake Corum real quick, because I know that he got on the field more. So yeah, snap counts. Where's the running backs? Blake Corum had 18 snaps. Kyron had 43. Corum was on the field. Half of his snaps were pass downs. He ended up with 5 carries to Kyron's 17. Look, clearly Kyron is the RB1 here, but it's worth noting that they're starting to mix in somebody to spell him. And Blake Corum is that guy. He might be worth a stash, a speculative ad. Maybe you did a 0 RB build in a deep league. Obviously if you're in a 15, 16 player roster, you're not looking to, I don't think quorum is deep enough. That's a deep enough of a bench to add quorum. But if you're in the NFFC, high stakes leagues, FFBC, 20 man rosters, you're hurting at running back, he might be worth a speculative add, because if Kyron were to miss time or go down, he's next in line. He's getting the carries, and I actually was a fan of quorum coming out before landing spot. I thought he had a pretty good RB profile that could translate to the NFL well. We know that he can pass protect and he can run inside. He's not going to break off a 79-yard touchdown run, but he'll definitely be the next in line if Kyron would have missed time. So speculative ad stash, in my opinion. Dan, did we go to you yet on this one?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did. Joey. Rams, Titans. Any takeaways from this game?
I just brought up maybe adding Stafford for the Burrow teams. I mean, that would be a good ad right now with this week. If you own Burrow, you especially with the two alpha wide receivers he's got, and I would probably add him.
Okay. All right, we'll move on. San Fran, New Orleans. Mac Jones led 49ers, wins this game 26-21. We'll start with you, Joey. We haven't started with you yet. We'll go with you first. San Fran, New Orleans. What's your takeaway from this game?
Juwan Jennings finally, he may be finally healthy now, performing like he had 10 targets. But like I said, Mac Jones was a competent quarterback this week. He may just be the system, Shanahan's system. But Shanahan liked him when he's coming out of the draft too, a few years back. But
they probably should have took him instead of Trey Lance, right? Maybe they would have won a Super Bowl. Maybe. But Jennings, Pearsall, and McCaffrey, they all performed. That was pretty big. That's pretty. Like I said, that's it on that. All right, we'll pass it over to Dan.
Yeah, somebody said his name earlier. Juwan Johnson. Love what I see from him.
Yeah,
getting the targets, running the routes. I actually wish we would have spent more on Fab last week on him. He went for some pretty big dollars in the NFFC. We got him a couple times, but saw some 400, 500 numbers, and we have one or two teams we probably could have used that on. So Juwan looks great, and Olave looks good again. So while he's healthy, he's racking up the targets as well. So hopefully he stays healthy.
All right, Josh.
Other than Juwan Johnson, I mean, Kamara is still Alvin Kamara. He's still getting his touches and doing his thing. But Spencer Rattler and Kendre Miller had 9 altogether rush attempts other than his 21. So Kamara's still the guy. And he was going in the 5th or 6th round. He was going pretty late in those prime times there, late August, early September. So people got some good value on him.
He did have 6 catches and over 20 carries. I mean, what else can you ask for? He's that consistent volume play. You know what I've been begging for? Kansas City to make a move for him, because that would help my Kamara shares a lot, because that would get him closer to the end zone. I feel like he needs more touchdowns. Pete, you can finish out this game for us, San Fran, New Orleans.
Yeah, I have a different take on Kamara as somebody who's owns him a lot and loved him this year. I'm not in love with the target share. It's the lowest target share we've seen by a lot. Now it's only 2 games, but Kellen Moore and his philosophy of throwing in the running back. Plus, you have Johnson now at tight end who's stepping up, taking targets. If Olave can stay healthy, he's only got a 10.7% target share right now, and the lowest before that in the last like 4 or 5 years has been like 18. So I'm hoping that we can see that go up a little bit because, like I said, more guys stepping up, and earning some targets around him and just the philosophy. So that's my concern a little bit with Kamara, and this is coming from somebody who loved him coming into the year. Outside of that, again, nice to see Olave be healthy. Ricky Pearsall still looks awesome. I think Mac Jones is going to be able to support the fantasy assets on that side of the ball for the 49ers. So that's encouraging. If you do have Ricky Pearsall, I wouldn't panic. I know people were a little nervous with Mac Jones, but I think Mac's going to facilitate the offense. He's not going to be amazing. He's not going to win them a bunch of games. He's not going to look good, but he's going to be able to get these guys the ball, which is encouraging if you own those guys. So
nice. I also, since I complained about Kamara's touchdown production, there is Devon Vele, another extremely good red zone target. He had 1 catch for a touchdown, 3 yards. He was used right there where Kamara usually is. So that's something to think about when you have concerns over Kamara.
Yeah, and to be fair, 6 targets last week, so it wasn't like the first game was a little.
But the red zone, there's more red zone options there for New Orleans. Yeah. Seattle, Pittsburgh. We'll go to you, Josh. We'll go in order this time. Josh, Pete, Dan, then Joey. Any take on the Seattle-Pittsburgh game? Seattle beat them up 31-17.
Sam Darnold's looking like it wasn't just having Justin Jefferson to throw to. He's looking tough. Kenneth Walker had another good game. I don't know. Me and Dan are interested in the Charbonnet. How's this going to shake out with Charbonnet moving forward? And then on the Steelers side of the ball, Caleb Johnson. Just interested to see how far in the doghouse he goes. Jalen Warren's playing good. So
nice. Go ahead, Pete.
Aaron Rodgers can still sling it. I know he had 2 interceptions, but if he's kept clean, he's still got something in the arm. So nice for the assets, the pass catchers. DK had a tough game, tough matchup overall. I like Seattle's defense. They're one of my favorite defenses to stream this week. If they are out there on waivers, they have a great matchup against the Saints. And Cooper Kupp, a nice bounce back for him. 9 targets, 7 catches, 90 yards. Tough week 1, a little concerning if you did buy into him, but a nice bounce back game for him. And I'm with you, Josh. Jalen Warren looks really good. That was a really awesome play that he made on that reception. It might be probably go down as one of the best runs that we see all year, in my opinion. So I'm encouraged by Seattle though, and Darnold looks good. So. JSN's gonna be could arguably be the best pick at his cost that we saw where he was going by a mile, in my opinion. So,
Dan,
Torrey Horton was nice to see. He had a good touchdown grab. I saw him cut quite a bit last week in the NFFC when he was a 7th or 8th wide receiver. I know in at least 2 leagues I'm going to be bidding on him this week, so keep an eye out on that. And then. I know this has probably been said a bunch in the offseason, but it's frustrating with the Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith. I mean, they're just taking from each other. They both had 4 targets. I don't think you can start either one of those. And to add on to what Josh said, the Charbonnet and Ken Walker, I think Ken Walker's definitely the guy. Charbonnet had that 1 drive week 1. 15 carries, 10 yards is a tough line to be looking at right here. But we do have a lot of Charbonnet. He's not going anywhere for us. If he gets the job anytime, he'll run with it. But if you got the 2 now, I saw people starting Charbonnet over Walker last week, and I thought that was a tough take. So a lot of our teams, we have both. So we're rolling with Walker until an injury or something else.
I like it. Joey, you got anything?
Yeah, I was all over Jalen Warren. Everybody was drafting Caleb Johnson ahead of him. So every time I would take him, I would take Jalen Warren. He's looked good, and back to what Pete was saying, I mean, JSN in the third to fourth round, he's probably going to lead the league in targets. I mean,
Yeah, he's one of my most owned players, JSN.
And then Walker looked like the player we was drafting in the fourth round. I mean, he looked good too, but I still like Charbonnet as well as these guys. But,
are we at this point? Are we dropping Caleb Johnson, or are we hanging on to him? Like, what do you guys think? Is it if we have to cut bait with somebody? Is he the guy?
If he's your RB4, I think you can hang on to him, but any higher than that, I think you got to consider it.
All right.
Because we don't really know how much Jalen Warren can handle a full load either. I mean, he's good in the back, pass catching. I don't know what kind of bruising back he could be, but
let's move.
Oh, he's a bowling ball for his size.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Buffalo New York Jets game. Buffalo wins this pretty handedly, 30-10. I was a little disappointed with the Jets offense. I mean, I know Justin Fields got hurt, but before he got hurt, it looked terrible. I will say this: I'm a little concerned about Khalil Shakir's usage. I thought this was a good matchup for him with what's the cornerback's name? I'm trying to think of. Who's the top corner on the Jets? Guys, help me out.
Sauce.
What is it?
Sauce
Gardner.
Yeah. Sauce Gardner. Yeah. How did I forget that? With him taking on Keon Coleman, I thought Shakir would be kind of a focal point of the game plan, and it was basically all James Cook and Shakir. Josh Palmer, Kincaid. The fact that Dawson Knox was on the field more than Shakir is alarming. I know that they use two tight end sets a lot, but I thought this year might have been the spot where Shakir takes a step forward and establishes himself as the wide receiver one, the most trusted wide receiver for Josh Allen. And it's looked the complete opposite. I don't know if I should be if I'm over worrying right now or not. Pete, I don't know. Tell me. Am I worrying too much about Shakir? How do you feel?
Well, Josh Palmer was out there a decent amount. I think the game script got away from them. And so ultimately nobody really benefited from it. I don't know. I mean, I loved Khalil Shakir coming into this year. I wasn't as high on him. I don't know. I just think with Buffalo, they're just going to continue to be a team that, spreads the ball around. Shakir is likely the most, trustworthy target in the offense, but yeah, I would be concerned. I don't know that I'd be much more concerned than I was before the season. I don't think a ton has changed really. I know the usage wasn't there last week, but again, what do you have? Like 8 targets week 1? Something like that? Like, yeah, he had a decent amount of targets week 1. I mean, it was just they were blowing him out this week. So that gives me a little more confidence to not be as concerned, but I also wasn't in love with him too much coming into the year.
I was. I thought when they gave him the contract, it was a signal that this is our guy. And I like Keon Coleman too. But I didn't expect for him to have such a big jump this year. I thought year 3, like I mentioned earlier, the year 3 breakout for high draft capital wide receivers. But And I did have a big concern over investing in any Bills pass catcher. Like you said, they spread it around. But, I do have some Shakir shares. I did tell Joey to start him over Quentin Johnston, and I convinced him. He listened to me, and he put him in, and it costed him, 15 points, Joe, right? at least.
Yeah, I lost, but it's no big deal. But I should have went against my gut because I'll go back and look. This ain't no fluke because Shakir didn't have more than 25 yards in each game against the Jets last year, and I know better. It's my fault, but it's just I guess they just run all over the Jets, and I know the benching. If he don't do it on Thursday night, then we should be concerned. But he is coming off a high ankle sprain. I mean, the Dolphins defense. I think Josh Allen will light them up this week.
All right, let's move on to the next game and try to get this in. We're approaching our pitch count, so we'll move on. Let's see, what do we got? Philadelphia. We got to hit the Philadelphia KC game for sure. Philadelphia wins this 20-17. My takeaway from this is until Rashee Rice comes back, I think Tyquan Thornton might be worth a look on the waiver wire. He played 45 total snaps. He ran 31 routes out of a possible 60 total offensive plays. So, he caught that deep ball, and he probably could have caught in two. Mahomes overthrew him on the one earlier in the game. Yeah. So that's all I got for that. Josh, you got any takeaways from this game?
I don't know. Isaiah Pacheco looks horrible. He's not getting it. But I'm a little bit. I mean, I guess I don't know. It's the Eagles. They're playing the Eagles. They were playing from behind. I was just a little surprised that maybe they didn't try to get some more carries for Brashard Smith. But Mahomes, I mean, we're used to seeing him hit those guys. Like you were saying with Thornton, he was open. I thought there was more than one that he missed him on deep, and maybe it was another receiver, but and he didn't just miss him by a little bit either. So, I don't know. They're the Chiefs. Anytime they get beat, it makes me smile. But seeing Mahomes play a little bit off like that is suspect. So they'll dial it in though.
Nice. Joey, you got any take on this game?
I like to ask everybody here, what's the concern level for the Eagles' passing attack? I mean, he's threw 45 pass attempts in 2 weeks. I mean, they're winning. That's the main. They don't care about our fantasy teams. They're winning and they're running the ball. But I say A.J. Brown's going to blow up and get mad for too long. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he still doesn't look like he's running 100% to me. I don't think he's 100%.
Yeah, I mentioned that last week. I think that he had the lingering effects of that hamstring injury. But that's a great point, Joe. The average of 22.5 passing attempts per game is not ideal. I was expecting them to pass more this year. It's totally not the case. So, my Devonta Smith shares are hurting. I was expecting a big game out of him. It didn't happen. So, yeah. Pete, you have anything to add to this game?
No, I'm kind of with you guys. I actually have Thornton in the Big Gorilla. But I can't say that I started him. But yeah, I don't know. The AJ at least got 8 targets, but the offense just, yeah, it's like Joey said. I mean, they don't really care about us fantasy wise as long as they're winning games and grinding teams out. But the problem with the Eagles is the Eagles are almost Chiefs-esque in that they can pretty much hit any button any week and try different things to win. And so they don't need to. If they need to open it up, they will, and we'll see the passing attack probably look good.
Right.
But they just don't really have to. So it's just like, I mean, Hurts has 101 yards. Like, I mean, do you want to play like that all season? I would think that you'd want to maybe try out a little bit, opening up the pass game in case you get into a game where the defense doesn't really do what it's supposed to do. But, they were able to do this last year. So I don't know why we would expect it to change, I guess. But I was with you. I thought they were going to pass more this year. So.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing. I mean, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. Like you said, when they need to open it up, they do. So,
yeah.
We'll move on. Denver Broncos, Indianapolis Colts. What a game. Colts end up winning 29-28. Let me see. Do I have a takeaway from this game? But you know what? We'll pass it over to Josh first. Josh, you got a take?
I think J.K. Dobbins looks really good, and Troy Franklin. Wow, him compared to Sutton is him compared to any other receiver on the team right now. Franklin looks really good, but
Led the team in targets with 9, and it wasn't even close. Cortland Sutton was kind of game planned out. It seems the Indy made it a point to take him out of the offense, but he only ended up with 1 catch. He gave us a dud. Troy Franklin, if he's not owned and if he's on the free agent list in your league, he's definitely worth an add. Even in shallow benches, I would consider adding him. He's looking like the wide receiver 2 for sure. Especially if in games where Cortland Sutton has a tough matchup. Definitely looking to possibly flex Troy Franklin, maybe even a DFS play. Dan, got anything to add?
I got one more thing to say, and then I got to hop off here.
Okay.
Really disappointed with Evan Ingram. We've had a lot of Evan Ingram. I've been talking negative about tight ends all day, I feel like, but I can't start Evan Ingram until I see something more. So disappointing. My kids are walking to the car. I appreciate you guys having me on, Pete, Joey.
Absolutely.
Great talking with you guys. Josh, I'll see you Sunday. And Who Day, baby.
Good night, Dan.
Thanks, Joe.
Appreciate you joining, man. All right, Joey, did you give a take yet? Sir Nix-a-Lot, your team name.
Well, I had 7 shares of Bo Nix. I was glad to see the first half, then he kind of disappeared. But I guess Franklin overtook the Marvin Mims, at the 2. That's who everybody was drafting, Mims, earlier in the year, which, I understand he was hot during the last part of the year. He was
Matt's in the house.
What's up, Matt?
But Jonathan Taylor looked good, too, in that game.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor is definitely a bona fide RB1 for sure at this point. You dropped, 34 and a half points, 36, something like that. Pete, you got anything to add?
I guess I'll give myself a pat on the back for Franklin. I know when me, you, Steve, and Hoff drafted, you had asked me who is the guy, outside of Sutton and obviously Ingram and between Pat Bryant, Mims, and Franklin. And I thought it was Franklin. He took a step forward. That's why they moved Vele, because they could. So, and then I also pointed Franklin out last week before the game as my favorite guy to stash. So that's nice to see. I don't think it's going to stay that way, of course. Sutton, just like you said, got game planned out. Evan Ingram, I got to hope that maybe he's injured still or they just tried to ease him into the game plan. 40% of the snaps for a guy that you paid $12 million to and pretty much said that this is going to be that difference maker in the offense as that joker role. I just don't understand how you have the guy play 40% of snaps. So I'm concerned there too. I don't know how you can start him right now. And then, ultimately on the other side of the ball, I guess, Pittman and Downs are it's really Tyler Warren's the guy I want to own in the offense. I think he should be viewed as a top 5 tight end rest of the way. And that might even be downplaying it. I mean, this guy's going to probably be a top 50 pick next year. He's just awesome. You can clearly tell he's the focal point of this offense.
Yeah. He's my most owned tight end all around. 9th, 10th round, he was I got grabbing him in all draft season.
Yeah, I ended up playing around a lot where I'd get like a little bit of Kraft, a little bit of Ingram, a little Njoku, a little Warren. It was really just teetering with those 4, and then sometimes I would grab Andrews. But yeah, Warren looks like he's going to be that guy, and obviously Tucker Kraft too. But we talked.
But the more important drafts, I was leaning Warren over all of them.
Yeah.
His floor is amazing, like
stud.
Yeah, absolutely. Carolina, Arizona. Arizona wins this game 27-22. Josh, you have any takeaway from this game?
Well, if Carolina's going to throw the ball 55 times, that's not good for them.
Well, they ran a total of 85 offensive plays, so
Yeah.
we have to take their end result. Like, don't expect that every week. Like 85 is a lot. The average is 64, I believe, 64 total plays.
I was really shocked, though. I didn't. I guess it's just because of the sheer volume. It just seemed like Bryce Young couldn't complete a pass and this and that. And then, I mean, he was at almost 72% completion percentage. So when I was looking at that earlier, so that did kind of surprise me. He ended up having a pretty good day. But Ted McMillan, he's a dog. I mean, he's another one. There's some of these young wide receivers are going to be really fun to watch.
What I want to know is Hunter Renfrow the real deal here? Is this somebody we should be spending fab on? Pete, enlighten me here.
Yeah, I think you're spending fab on him until Coker's back. Xavier Legette, like 8 targets. I mean, this dude stinks. Xavier Legette just stinks, man. I so bad. But yeah, I mean, Hunter Renfrow's out there on waivers. I think that the big gorilla, he's not even like, I think I was just looking at this while we were on. I think he's rostered in like less than 5% of leagues. So he's worth throwing a dart at. I actually have Coker, who's also available to pick up. And I was like, I don't really need Renfrow now. Maybe it's probably worth it to stash Coker because I think Coker's ultimately going to be that guy outside of Tet when he comes back. But it's nice to see for Renfrow.
Nice. Joe, you have anything to add?
I agree. I drafted Coker a lot, so I've killed him. After seeing Legette, I said that just makes him a little bit more valuable.
Nice. All right.
In the receiving game.
Matt wants to know, is Kyler that bad or is Marvin Harrison Jr. mid?
Maybe both.
Right? Yeah, Marvin.
Both.
All right. What do we got left? I think we just have
The 2 Monday games.
No, did we hit Atlanta, Minnesota yet? No, right?
No.
Yeah, so there's 3 games left. We'll knock them out real quick. Atlanta, Minnesota. Atlanta dominates this game 22-6. Their defense looks real good. Or JJ McCarthy just looks real bad, one or the other. Or like Pete says, both. Maybe a little bit of both. Bijan is a constant. He's definitely worth the price we paid. Are we worried about Drake London at all? Joe, I'll go to you first since
I believe he could have been more of a decoy this week. I mean, I don't know how healthy that shoulder is. I'm hoping that's what it was, but I mean, Bijan he had 22 carries and he was the focal point of offense. But I'm hoping Drake London shows back up because I took him a lot of places. I drafted him. I had 3 straight drafts at 10, and that's who I took all 3 times. But like I said, I'm hoping that he was still banged up a little bit. My biggest thing was I was glad he came out of it healthy. So maybe this week he'll be a little bit better.
Right, yeah, right. They were taking it a little easy a little bit with the reps. The actual pass catcher reps. Josh, what do you got for this game?
It's Jordan Mason season now. So I know Dan is so disappointed that he had to get off before he could brag on all of our Jordan Mason shares. But yeah, that's especially this week against the Bengals that he could have a real good game. But no, I mean it's disappointing when you see the Justin Jeffersons and the Drake Londons, and I mean even TJ Hawkinson was up there, and the guys just I don't know aren't getting good passes thrown to them. I mean the quarterback play just seemed subpar in that game. It was a little frustrating, but it was 2 defenses playing tough against each other and 2 young quarterbacks, so you'll have that. They'll mature. They'll come around. Really thought Hawkinson would be more of a security blanket for McCarthy, though.
All right. Pete, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I guess with the Hawkinson thing too, I saw a clip or two out there, and routes didn't look great, didn't look clean. I did want to. He was a guy I wanted to take a look at on the NFL Pro stuff, and just take a look at his routes and see if it maybe was just a bad play, a bad route overall. So offense is in a really bad spot, man. No Darashaw. I know the Jordan Mason thing feels exciting. If Carson Wentz stinks, this is going to be a really, really tough offense. So, I mean, at least with the Bengals, you have Jake Browning, who we've seen at least like can be like a gunslinger. Even if he makes a mistake, it'll be good for our fantasy assets. I have no idea what to expect with Carson Wentz being the starter there.
It's Jordan Mason season. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Mason might be with Aaron Jones on IR very soon.
It could be. Yeah. That's
nice.
That would be our luck.
I just want to note that I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling good about Kyle Pitts. He was on the field just as much as Drake London, and that's basically it. Charlie Wolmer, the tight end. He's the pass blocking tight end. But yeah, he ran 25 routes. Drake London ran 26. Donald Mooney ran 26. So he's out. He is the clear cut third pass catching option, and they're not using him to block. He pass blocked on just one play, so his route participation percentage is near 100%. That's a positive sign to see. I would be optimistic about Kyle Pitts if you're a Kyle Pitts owner for sure. Let's go to we'll do Tampa Bay Houston game. I thought Houston was going to win this game. They didn't win it. They lost 20-19. Pete, we'll start with you on this one. You got anything for us on this game?
This was the Houston game?
Yeah, Houston, Tampa Bay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Evans, I talked a little bit about last week. I think he looks good still. I mean, 11 targets, 5 catches, 56. Of course, Igbuka outscores him again, and Igbuka gets 7, 4, 29, and 1. But I think Evans is, as long as Evans is healthy, he's still going to be really good this year. I'm buying low on him. I know back-to-back weeks, not over 12 PPR points, I believe. So people might be a little panicked there with the Igbuka ascension. But I think Evans is going to be good. This was a tough stretch of the schedule. He played Stingley this week. He had to play against A.J. Terrell last week, and we know that Falcons defense looks pretty good through 2 weeks. So I'm buying low on Mike Evans, man. And it's not to say I don't like Igbuka. I have a lot of shares of him too, but in leagues I don't have him, I'm comfortable taking a discount on Evans because I think he still looks good, man.
Joey, what do you got for us in this game?
I agree with Pete, like buying low on Evans, but it looks like Bucky Irving is the focal point of this offense. I mean, he's in the receiving game. He caught 6 balls, and he's had 17 carries for 71 yards. I mean, looks like they're building offense around him a little bit, but.
Well, now Rachaad White was on the field and he did score a touchdown. So yeah. I mean, and I did say that I said last week that I felt like he would get more involved. I think that if Bucky didn't have those 6 receptions, he would have turned in a subpar performance. That's not to say that he's not the focal point of the offense, but I've been hating on Bucky all draft season. I hated his ADP, not necessarily him. Obviously, he is the best running back on the team, but I don't see Rachaad White going anywhere, and I feel like it caps Bucky stealing when the game script pulls away. When they're not beating up on teams and Bucky's running buck wild. Josh, you have anything to
add? Texans' running game is pretty much non-existent. I mean, if it wouldn't have been for a 30-yard touchdown run that Chubb had, that was half of their rushing yards, I think, on the game. So
yeah,
they need to get that figured out. It was nice to see Nico catch a couple balls, but
I do want to mention that the rookie wide receiver usage without Christian Kirk in the picture kind of concerns me. Higgins and Noel, and Noel kind of looks he like flashed some burst, and they're not being used. Their snap counts are. Higgins is on the field for just 13 pass plays out of 44 total. 44 total plays. They only ran 44 total. They had 49. 49 total plays. Higgins was on the field for 21, and Noel only 15. When Christian Kirk comes back, I mean, we know Kirk is a reliable slot wide receiver. I mean, I'm not optimistic at all for these rookie wide receivers, right? You guys are in the same boat there. I mean,
Yeah.
all right. Let's hit the last game. Chargers, Raiders. Chargers win this game 20-9. Ashton Genty basically non-existent. That's my one takeaway. His pass protection is just awful. I don't know if it's going to cost him snaps in the future, because he is supposedly generational talent. That's my one takeaway, is that Ashton Genty is definitely not living up to his draft cost. Josh, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, you've got him, you've got Amari Hampton, you got Travion Henderson. I don't know. I just kind of wonder if maybe moving forward in the years to come, if we don't back off of some of these rookie running backs a little bit. I know there was a time where we had quarterbacks were shoved way up, and now everybody's backed off of them. But yeah, they're just rough right now. But they're only 2 games in. I mean, give them a couple more weeks after about the first 4 weeks, and then we'll see where they're at. So you got to be patient with them. It's just frustrating seeing Amari and Hampton get 8 for 24, and Najee Harris, who's had a week and a half of practices and played in 2 games now, and he looks way better. So I don't know.
Najee's never really looked bad. He just never looked great either, other than his rookie season. We do know that he's reliable. He hasn't missed a game. He's gone over 1,000.
He was just on the sideline, though, wasn't able to practice for 2 months.
Well,
and, that's...
this was my concern with Hampton all along, is Najee is not just some guy that he's going to, take all the snaps from,
Yeah.
So, Hampton, but the Henderson and the Genty thing, I'm a little worried. Not worried about Henderson. You have to be patient with his usage. I am worried about Genty though. The Raiders offense does not look great. Geno Smith definitely didn't look great. I feel like he struggles against any type of elite or top defense, and the Chargers defense played pretty good. So, Joey, you got anything to add?
I'm glad to see Quentin Johnston keep playing good. I mean, he was basically free in drafts. Nobody wanted him. I got him like round 15 and 16. And the only reason why I took him in was because he had like 8 touchdowns. I said, well, who are you going to find? I didn't think he was going to come out like this, but he's had 14 targets in 2 games, so I'm hoping he can sustain. I don't know who Sertan will be on this week. They got Denver this week, but I don't know. It could be a tough matchup. But Herbert coming out throwing the ball. I don't know if he's trying to hide the offensive line a little bit for Hampton struggling. I don't know.
How much is Keenan taking from Ladd, you guys think?
Enough that it's hurting anybody who drafted Ladd in the second round for sure.
Yeah, good point.
And I Keenan was, again, I have a ton of Keenan Allen. I felt like him in the 15th round when he was a free agent was just asinine. Like I like if there was like, I think like the first best ball draft I did, I took him in like the 11th or the 12th round. Then I realized how late he was going. And I was like, I don't have to take him that early. So he was definitely one of the best values this year before he was, signed the contract with the Chargers. Pete, I appreciate you hanging with us for the extra 20, 25 minutes.
Sure.
Why don't you close out this game, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, we're talking about a lot of draft capital, and nobody's talking about Brock Bowers.
Nice.
8 targets. I know the targets are there, but just 5 catches, 38 yards, and again, we're doing all this and talking about all these games, and it is only 2 games, right? And Geno Smith and the Raiders, if you watch them week 1, you might think that offense is going to be really good this year, right? And then they have a bad week against the Chargers, and we're like, maybe not, right? So I think the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle with them, but I think it was always a red flag that we have an offense in the Raiders that are probably projected to be maybe bottom 5 in scoring this season, and we're taking 2 of their players in the top 15 picks. I just didn't understand the draft capital for Bowers. I didn't take any shares of him at his capital.
Me either. I agree, Pete.
I only took Bowers in best ball drafts where
Yep.
he slipped at like the 2-3 turn, and I just wanted to just get a little bit of exposure there at a slight discount. So I think that's a little bit of a concern, and that maybe the knee injury is why but I mean, he had 8 targets. It's not like they didn't throw the ball to him, so I don't think they were easing him in. I just think this offense could be messy. This offensive line stinks. It could be tough sledding overall. And the Lad, going back to the Lad thing too, just to give thoughts there. I liked Lad. I liked his cost. And then when Keenan signed there, I had some concerns. I didn't expect Quentin Johnson to be this good, but Quentin Johnson and Keenan Allen have a touchdown in both games, and Lad hasn't gotten into the end zone, and he's been the third option there, which is, I don't expect that to stay that way, but I'm a little upset. I only have 1 share in managed leagues of Lad that I got off of a trade already, but that's concerning. And the last thing I'll say, Justin Herbert, I made the bold prediction that I thought J.J. McCarthy would have a better season because of what Kevin O'Connell's done with quarterbacks in fantasy. They've pretty much all finished top 12 in the last couple of years with the Vikings. Herbert's been phenomenal, and I think he should be viewed as a top 6-7 quarterback rest of the way for fantasy. And that was a miss that I don't think it's too early to say that. I think that's going to be a pretty big miss.
Well, to Pete, in his defense, Greg Roman always runs the ball. I mean, I didn't really see Herbert come out firing like he is right now. I mean, this is like
didn't either.
Greg Roman never had that skill of a passing quarterback, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going old school here, but Herbert reminds me of, I love watching him throw football like Warren Moon did. Warren Moon was probably one of the best pure throwers of football I've ever watched.
Nice.
Herbert reminds me of him.
Pete, the draft we streamed with me, you, Steve, and Hoff. You remember that me and Steve got auto-picked Justin Herbert? Do you remember that?
And you guys were not happy about it.
No, we weren't happy. But Steve was hell-bent on getting Justin Fields, which I got to be honest with you. I wasn't 100% on board on that plan. I have some Fields, but, I'm backing him up well.
Steve loves Fields.
Yeah, I know he does. But, we chalked that up to Anthony because we were all literally just talking about something and we and then me and Steve realized we were on the clock 40 seconds in, and then we were sitting there arguing with position players, and then all of a sudden we heard the click ding, and we looked and it was Justin Herbert, man. What a pick that was, right?
We're 0-2 in that league, and I think our team's good. We have Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, Kamara, Quinshon Judkins. Those are our 4 backs. Our receivers are Nico, Terry, Shaheed. We have a Cooper Kupp. We have a decent amount of good receivers too. Hawkinson and Ingram in that league. Like if you would have told me like I thought that team with Hawkinson and Ingram have killed us. Freaking Brees Hall and Derrick Henry basically lost us last week, and our quarterbacks are Bo Nix and Kyler. So like, but we don't even have a win in that league. It's crazy.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks have been chaotic for sure. Like, I mean, I even seen one of who I consider the best fantasy player in the world, Billy Wasowski, in our New York primetime. I think he scored less than 80 points this week. So it happens. It's chaotic, and that's how early season is. You know, offenses aren't up to speed. Defenses have the edge. You know. And wide receiver ones we've seen in the past, they often start out slow. So you just got to be patient. Keep plugging in the guys you drafted for a reason. Keep working on your roster. Keep with those speculative ads deep leagues, especially. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. But when they don't, you just recycle it for the next speculative ad. And that's pretty much it. I just want to. Take the time to say thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight. This was a great show. Josh, it was a pleasure highlighting you and your fantasy background. Joey, always a pleasure talking football with you, man. Glad you're on. Pete.
Appreciate it.
Pete, you're the man. One of my best friends in this space. I can honestly say that. You know, your advice is priceless when it comes to, you know, making content. And I appreciate you know, everything about you, man.
Yeah,
it's been nothing but a pleasure.
I appreciate being on, Joey. I think it's the first time we've been on together, but obviously I've watched you and Joe for a while, and we've been connected. Josh, I don't know if you're on Twitter or anything, but good to meet you as well and chop it up with you guys. It was
you can tell I'm the rookie on the podcast. I don't have my handle up there, but
are you on
I think Josh has like 20 followers. They're all NFFC guys.
It's elite JB25. I'll throw it up there. I think I thought I followed you, Pete, but
oh yeah, you do.
When I saw he was getting on earlier, I clicked on you and followed you, but I've been seeing some of your posts for a while, so
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
nice,
absolutely. So,
Pete, tell the people where they can find you, what you have going on.
Yeah, you can find me at Player Profiler, doing content there. My running back rankings for this week will drop tomorrow. I still got to record that. It's late. So I got to record that. That'll drop tomorrow. My DST stuff just dropped today. So excited about that. Keeping things rolling there. And over at Face Off. And that's really about it.
Nice. All right. Once again, thank you to anybody that contributed in the chat. We appreciate it. If anytime you want to tune in, bring your questions. We'll answer as many questions as we can. I enjoy interacting with the chat. I don't always pay attention to it, but I do go back and you know, I'll take a couple of minutes to catch up with it. And if you're not tuned into the sports affiliation, subscribe. We have great content all season. We have shows every single day, sometimes more than one, depending on the day. We got guys posting videos. You can go on the website, thesportsaffiliation.com. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000. My daughter promised some sort of a fancy cartwheel video once we get to 1,000. So, if you need that, if that's your motivation, I mean, I'd like to see it because I honestly don't think she can do a cartwheel. So,
are you gonna match what she does?
I'll give it a shot. All right.
Now that'll get you some more followers.
I'll give it a shot just because I'm not sure if she can do it. So I know we'll see. We'll see, man. But yeah, if you're watching on X, listening on X, just go over to YouTube real quick, hit the like button for us. That helps. All that jazz. And we'll we'll see you guys next week. I think anybody else have anything else to add? We can get out of here, right?
Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
All right.
Good getting to meet you, Joe, Pete.
You too.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, guys. We're gonna get out of here. Peace out.